So we start the knockout stages with 16 countries over in Euro 2024, but we now have reduced that down to 8. Which of those 8 nations will make it through to the semi-finals? That's right, we're going to take a look at it. All of it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today, we're taking a look at the quarterfinal stages of Euro 2024 over in Germany, where we have 8 countries trying to boil them down to just 4. Which of those nations will make that step? We'll get into it, all of it, in a second. Of course, if you're new, where you've been, smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for Euro 2024 is right here under one rooski. We got some heavyweights, and we got a couple of little guys still sneaking under the radar, that's right. But which one of those nations will make that step further to the final 4? We'll get into it, all of it, in a second. Big shout out to the VIPs. They are the patrons, you know who you are. And again, if you're new, where have they been? Smash that subscribe, smash the like, and hit the little bell, of course. So let's get into it. We are talking about this. It is, of course, Euro 2024 as we look forward to, of course, continuing the knockout stages. But let's remind ourselves of that last 16. And here we go, reminding ourselves that Spain took on Georgia, Germany took on the Danes, Portugal and Slovenia. They had the French up against the Belgians. On the other side, we have Romania up against the Dutch, Austria against Turkey, England up against Slovakia, and then we had the Swiss against Italy. So let's turn the clock back and review those results and my predictions before we jump into those quarterfinal stages. So of course, we had Spain up against Georgia. That was a 3-1 pick for me. A little bit nervy for the Spanish. That was my pick. The result actually was a 4-1 win going in favour of the Spanish. Meanwhile, the Germans took care of business against the Danes, 2-0 win. I got that one spot on the nose. Meanwhile, a bit of a tricky one for Ronaldo and co. I went with a 2-1 win, but it was actually a penalty shootout victory going in favour of the Portuguese. Meanwhile, we said goodbye to De Bruyne and hello to Kylian Mbappe and the boys, making it through to the next stage after a 1-0 win, narrow 1-0 win over Belgium. I went with a 2-0 win myself, so ain't too shabby. Up and on the other side of the bracket, we said goodbye, a tearful goodbye to Romania after they got spanked by, of course, the Dutch, who now look like they're serious contenders once again. Meanwhile, of course, Austria against the Turkish outfit. I went with a 2-0 win for the Austrians. Of course, the result was just like that. Meanwhile, we've got England to care of business eventually against Slovakia. 2-1 win after extra time. I went with a 3-0 win myself. Ain't too shabby. And the Swiss were just too cool against the Italians. 2-0 win. I went with a 1-1 draw and penalty shootout victory, but I was wrong. That's right. So let's, of course, take those results, and, of course, get ready for those quarter-final stages. Quick reminder, we do have a prediction league. I'm not going to give you an update on it just yet, but just to remind you that this is the link. I'll bring you an update from the conclusion of the quarterfinals into the semi-finals. So we'll bring you back up to date. But just keep on predicting, do your thing. But let's waste no more further ado and talk about the illustrious quarterfinal stages. So here we are, folks. Here we bloody go then. Take a look at forward to those quarterfinals. We'll start with right here at the top of the shop with a ding-dong classic on our hands. It's Spain, it is Germany, and it's coming at you on Friday, July the 5th at the Stuttgart Arena. It'll be Spain up against Germany for what will be the 10th time since 1994. It's actually been 4 wins for the Spanish, just 1 win for the Germans, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides. Spain, managed by Luis de la Fuente, are on 100% form with them at the moment. 6 wins on the bounce, of course, coming into this pretty hot to bloody trot. The Germans on 83% form for them at the moment. Just 1 draw of the last 5, but not a good as record as that of the Spanish. The most recent match between these two sides was back in November 2022, and it was a 1-1 draw back in World Cup Group E over in Qatar. The last time any of these two nations come out top with a victory, it was the Spanish, and guess what? They put 6 past the Germans back in November 2020. Germany's one and only victory in the most recent times was back in November 2014 over in Spain, but that match, of course, was a friendly. Quick look at the bookies' odds for this one then, shall we? We have the Spanish 13-8 for the victory, Germany 7-4. The draw is at 9-4. I have gone with the Goldfest on this one, and I'm going to back my boys here, Germany, to of course, go with a 3-2 victory and into the semi-finals, of course. But who will they play? Well, standing in the way will be either the Portuguese or the French. That's right. So let's take a look at this one. Also, same match day, July the 5th. That's this coming Friday. Portugal up against France over at the Volkspark Stadium over in Hamburg. We have Roberto Martinez, a.k.a. Portuguese Gareth Southgate, up against France and Didier Deschamps in the dugouts. Now, these two sides have played each other 9 times since 1984. We've just got 1 win for Portuguese, 6 wins for the French, and we've got 2 draws for the two sides heading into this one. Portugal, though, 67% form for them at the moment. Just 1 defeat in the last 5 5 up against the French side, unbeaten in the last 6, however drawn 3 of the last 5. They're on 75% form for them at the moment. The most recent match between these two sides ended up all square back in June 2021. That was in the last Euros, and it was in Group F, way back when. The last time the French picked up a victory was back in November 2020. That was in the Nations League Group A. The French picked up a victory in Portugal to give themselves a major boost. However, the last victory for Portugal was, guess what, at the Euros. It was at the finals, and it was a 1-0 win for Portugal back in July 2016. The bookies on this one, then, they're going to go 9-4 for your Portugal. 11-8 is the France. 21-10 is the draw here. I don't know. It is Mbappe. It is Ronaldo. It's a ding-dong affair, and we could go to the wire. We may even see penalties at this stage. But no, I'm going to back the Portuguese on this one. 2-1 win. Maybe a surprise, maybe a little against the grain, when I'm backing Ronaldo to bounce back once again with the spotlight well back on him once again. Let's go on to the other side of the bracket. Into the other side of the bracket we go now, and we have the Dutch up against Turkey. That's right. This match will take place July the 6th over the Olympic Stadium over in Berlin. That's right. The Dutch, managed by Ronald Koeman, up against Turkey and Vincenzo Montella. That's right. Now, these two nations have played each other 7 times since 2010. Quite an even sort of spread. 4 wins for the Dutch, 2 wins for the Turkish, and 1 draw between the two sides. Netherlands, though, 75% form for them right now, heading into this, whereas Turkey are on the uptick here, 42% form for them at the moment. A couple of wins over the last 3 or 4 matches. The biggest match, or the most recent match between these two sides, was a 6-1 win. It's the biggest for the Dutch. That was back in September 2021 as a World Cup qualification phase back in Group G in September for the World Cup in Qatar. 6-1 win it was. The biggest for the Turkish, though, was a 3-0 win back in September 2015. That was for the qualification phase for the Euros. Back in September 2015. So 7 matches, 4 wins for the Dutch, 2 for the Turkish. Of course, Turkey coming into this following a decent qualification phase, beating Georgia 3-1, beating Czechia 2-1, but they did lose to the Portuguese on their way through to these quarterfinals. The Dutch, on the flip side, picked themselves up a 2-1 win over Poland, and then a 3-2 loss to the Austrians, and also a just 0-0 draw against La France. Again, I got no bookies odds on this one, so I'm going to have to go for my gut on this one. And unfortunately, I'd love to see the Turkish go through. I really would. But I think after that performance from the Dutch against Romania, I think they've clicked into gear. They found some rhythm. They found some goals, and a bit of confidence as well going into this. And that could be a little bit of a worry for the remaining nations in this this side of the bracket. I think the Dutch may have finally found 4th or maybe even top gear just the right time. They might have clicked into gear, what we've been all waiting for. So I'm going to back the Dutch with a 2-1 win to set themselves up for a spot in, of course, the Final 4. Let's take a look at that quarterfinal. It is England up against the Swiss, and that match will take place on Saturday, July the 6th. Also, now these two nations will lock horns at the Dusseldorf Arena. Southgate's England up against Marit Jakan's Switzerland. That's right. England coming into this on 67% form for them right now. Just 1 defeat over the last 6. Up against the Swiss, 75% form for them right now. Unbeaten in the last 6 matches. England do boast a pretty impressive record against the Swiss, stretching all the way back to 1954. They played each other 13 times. England yet to lose against the Swiss. But those records, guess what, my friends, need to be broken. Of course, England boasting a 3-0 win, their biggest over the Swiss. The most recent match that did not end in the favour of a victory for England was a 2-2 draw back in June 2011. That was in the European qualification phase over in England. However, the Swiss coming into this on a good bit of form right now with the only defeat. In fact, they have no defeat. They've got no defeats. They picked up a 3-1 win over Hungary, a draw against the Scots, a draw against the Germans, and a nice, impressive display against the Italians. England, on the other hand, also a couple of draws, couple of wins as well, but really yet to click into gear. And that's the worry here for this one. England are yet to convince us all, the viewing, the watching public, the neutrals, that, of course, one of these matches, they're going to click into gear and they might not stop after that. Can they get into that 3rd gear, 4th gear, or even top gear at the moment? I don't know. I don't really know at the moment. I think they limped over the line in the last 16, and I think if they're going to get out of this one, they're going to limp, or it has to go a little bit longer than 90 minutes once again, maybe even the dreaded penalty. So I am going to say, I'm going to stick my head out on this one. In fact, before we do that, quick look at the odds. The odds, 5-4 are your England, 27-10 is your Swiss, 2-1 is the draw. The bookies favouring England. There's a public vote out there on the channel favouring the Swiss. But what about me? Well, my friends, I'm also going to follow the Swiss. That's right, boys and girls. Going to go with a penalty shootout victory. One of these has to be a penalty. There has to be a shock in the old quarterfinals, and I'm backing the Swiss to do it with a 1-1 draw after 90, after extra time, and then, of course, taking the penalties where England will break their hearts once again, and, of course, will be curtains for Gareth Southgate and, of course, his England side. So, folks, let's take a little look at how that, of course, has affected the semi-finals. On one side, we'll have the heavyweights. It'll be Germany. It'll be France. On the other side, we do have a surprising semi-final on our hands with this Dutch taking on the Swiss for a spot in the final. That's my take. What about yours? Let me know down below. So the prediction league, it is wide open. I'm going to pop the link on the screen just about now. So be sure to get involved with that as we steamroll towards the end of this competition and, of course, into the latter stages. But then, my friends, make sure you smash the like, smash subscribe. Your one-stop shop for Euro 2024 is right here under one Brewski. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my predictions? They've been a little bit brash, a little bit straight to the heat of the matter. And of course, who was your tip for the title as we have the final 8? Which one of these nations are going to pick up the silverware at the end of the competition? Let me know down below. Let me know who you think's going for glory. But until then, we're done.